The night was cold, too cold for anyone to be outside. But there she was, lying on a flattened carton beside the gate of Akinsola luxury apartments, her thin arms wrapped around herself as if that could stop the shaking. Her name was Ireti, 16 years old, a maid who had nowhere else to go. But tonight, something happened that would change her life forever. A black SUV rolled to a slow stop right in front of her. Its headlights washed over her small, shivering body. Ireti squeezed her eyes shut, hoping the driver wouldn't yell at her the way others usually did. Instead, the car door opened. A tall man stepped out, wearing a dark suit that looked more expensive than anything she had ever touched. His wristwatch glowed in the night like a tiny star. His voice was calm but strong. "Who did this to you?" he asked. Ireti's eyes widened. She knew that voice. Everybody did. It was billionaire Toby Owolabi, the owner of half the companies in Lagos, and the man whose building she wasn't good enough to clean anymore. He slowly crouched beside her, his eyes full of something she had never seen directed at her before. Concern. "Stand up," he said softly. "You can't sleep out here. Come with me." She froze, because right behind him, two security guards were running toward them, shouting, "Sir, don't touch her. She was kicked out for stealing." Ireti gasped. Her heart dropped. She shook her head fast. "That's not true. I didn't steal anything." The billionaire's eyes narrowed. At her, at the guards, at the building. The night felt suddenly still. Toby Owolabi stood up slowly, his jaw tight. His voice dropped lower, colder. "Who told you she's a thief?" he asked the guards. But before they could answer, something happened. A woman rushed out of the building carrying a shiny gold purse. Her voice was loud and angry. "Sir, don't let that girl fool you. She stole my money. I want her arrested right now." Everyone turned. Ireti covered her mouth, trembling. The billionaire shifted slightly, blocking her with his body. Then he looked at the woman's purse, and his eyes locked on something strange, something that made his face change instantly. His expression went from calm to shocked to furious. The guard stepped back. The woman froze. Ireti whispered, "Sir, what's wrong?" But he didn't answer her. Instead, he slowly pointed at the purse the woman was holding and said the words that made everyone stop breathing. "Madam, that purse belongs to my late mother." The woman's face turned pale. The night fell silent. Then the billionaire took a step toward her. For a full 5 seconds, nobody moved. The woman holding the purse, Madame Ronke, the landlord's sister, stood frozen like someone had paused her life. Her lips trembled. Her eyes darted left and right, searching for an excuse. But the billionaire's eyes were locked on the purse. "I asked a question," Toby Owolabi said quietly. His calm voice was far scarier than if he had shouted. "Where did you get that purse?" Madame Ronke's hands shook. Sir, I bought it in Dubai." "That is a lie," he said sharply. "My mother's initials are inside that purse. I designed it for her myself." Ireti gasped. The guards looked at each other, confused. Toby stretched out his hand, and the woman hesitated, then slowly placed the purse into his palm. The moment he opened it, the truth came out. Inside was a tiny golden plate with the carved letters AOO. Adebisi Omotola Owolabi, his late mother's name. The billionaire's expression changed again, this time to pure anger. "You said this girl stole your money?" he asked, his voice dangerously soft. Madame Ronke stepped back. She must have taken it from me somehow." "How?" he cut in, his eyes narrowed. "You were the one who fired her today. You told the manager she was a useless girl who didn't deserve a bed in the staff quarters. How would she enter your apartment?" Ireti's eyes filled with tears. This was the first time anyone had defended her. The billionaire turned to the guards. "Search her," he ordered. "Search the maid. Search Madame Ronke. Search the entire lobby." The guards obeyed immediately. Within seconds, something else happened, something Ireti didn't expect. As one guard opened Madame Ronke's handbag, a small stack of money fell out, wrapped in the exact blue band used for tenants' maintenance fees. Ireti's heart almost stopped. One guard gasped, the other whispered, "Sir, this is the missing building money, the one she accused the girl of stealing." Madame Ronke's eyes widened. I, I can explain. No, the billionaire said coldly. I will explain. He stepped closer to her. You stole the money, then blamed a homeless maid to cover yourself. And your brother believed you. He threw her out to sleep on the street. The tension in the air was like fire. People from the building were now watching from windows and balconies above. Little Ireti felt her chest tighten. She had never seen anyone believe her so quickly. Never seen anyone stand for her. Never seen anyone look at her like she mattered. Then the billionaire did something that shocked everyone. He placed his hand on Ireti's shoulder. This girl is coming with me, he said. She will stay in my home tonight. And after that, we will discuss her future. Madame Ronk's mouth dropped. What? Sir, you can't take her. She's just a maid. The billionaire turned slowly, eyes burning. She is a human being, he replied. Something you seem to have forgotten. Ireti swallowed hard. Her legs trembled. The billionaire signaled to his driver. Open the car. But just as he guided Ireti toward the SUV, a man came running out of the building yelling, Wait! Sir, don't take her! You don't know the whole story. Ireti froze. She recognized that voice. Her former boss. The man who kicked her out. He had come to stop them. The man who ran out of the building was Mr. Bode, the staff supervisor, the one who ordered the guards to drag Ireti out earlier. He stopped in front of the SUV, panting, sweat rolling down his forehead, even in the cold night. Sir, please, don't take her, he said, voice shaking. Billionaire Toby Owolabi turned slowly, his hand still resting protectively on Ireti's shoulder. And why not, he asked. Mr. Bode swallowed hard. Because she is hiding something. Something you don't know. Ireti's heart dropped. Her fingers tightened on her torn dress. What else could they say about her? The billionaire raised an eyebrow. What exactly is she hiding? The supervisor looked from the billionaire to Ireti, then back again. It's about her past, he whispered. Sir, that girl is trouble. Ireti shook her head quickly. Sir, I didn't do anything. Quiet, the supervisor barked. The billionaire's expression turned dark, dangerously dark. He took one step toward the supervisor. Do not raise your voice at her again, he warned. Now talk. What lies are you about to tell? Mr. Bode's voice trembled. Sir, she has been sleeping outside before today. Even when she worked here, she refuses to stay in the staff quarters. She sneaks out at night. She hides behind the generator house. Nobody knows why. We caught her twice. She is suspicious. Ireti's eyes filled with tears. Her secrets, her biggest fear, were now being poked like wounds. People around murmured. Some nodded. Some stared at her like she was dangerous. The billionaire turned to her softly. Ireti, why didn't you sleep inside? She opened her mouth, but no words came. How could she explain? Would anyone believe her? Mr. Bode continued louder now that he had attention. And that's not all. She has a phone she hides. A small phone, sir. She protects it like her life depends on it. We think she's working with thieves outside. Maybe she sends them information about rich tenants. That's a lie, Ireti cried, shaking. Sir, I'm not a thief. I never helped anyone steal. Mr. Bode smirked. Then show him the phone you hide. Her knees grew weak. She held her breath. The billionaire looked at her gently. Ireti, is that true? Do you have a phone you're hiding? She looked down at her feet. Yes, sir, she whispered. But it's not what they think, I swear. Then explain, the billionaire said softly. Ireti pressed her lips tightly, tears spilling. I can't, sir, not here. The billionaire stepped closer, lowering his voice. I won't judge you. Just tell me the truth. She slowly reached into the pocket of her old dress and pulled out a tiny worn-out phone. Tape held the battery in place. The screen was cracked like spiderwebs. But that wasn't what shocked everyone. The wallpaper on the phone. A photo of two small children, a boy and a girl. Both looked sick, thin, scared. Gasps filled the air. The billionaire's eyes widened. Who are they? He asked. Ireti's lips trembled. They are my siblings, she whispered. Her voice broke. And they're missing. The entire crowd froze. Even Mr. Bode stepped back. The billionaire leaned down, eyes steady and serious. What do you mean? Missing? Ireti wiped her face with shaky hands. The people who took them told me they would hurt them if I ever told anyone. So I stayed quiet. I sleep outside because they told me they might come back one night to bring news. I don't want to miss them. I don't want to. Her voice collapsed. The billionaire inhaled sharply, his jaw tightening. You mean someone kidnapped your siblings? She nodded, crying hard now. And the last text they sent me said, they need money, a lot of money. If I don't find a way, they will. Her voice cracked again as she covered her face. The billionaire clenched his fists, rage burning in his eyes, not at her, but at whoever had destroyed her childhood. He reached forward, lifted her chin, and said quietly, Ireti, get in the car. Mr. Bode's eyes widened. Sir! Toby Owalabi turned sharply. One more word from you, and you will regret it. The supervisor shut his mouth instantly. The billionaire opened the car door for Ireti. She hesitated, then slowly stepped inside. But just as Toby moved to enter the car, something happened that sent a shock through the entire crowd. A phone began ringing. Not Ireti's phone, not the billionaire's. It was Madame Ronk's phone, the same woman who lied about her. She answered it. Then her face drained of all color. Her hands began to shake uncontrollably. Sir, she whispered, staring at the billionaire with wide, terrified eyes. What is it? He asked. She swallowed hard. The kidnappers. They just called me. Madame Ronk's phone almost slipped from her hand as she stared at the screen, her whole body trembling. The kidnappers, she whispered again. They called me. The crowd went silent. The billionaire stepped forward slowly, his face tightening with suspicion. Why, he asked calmly but coldly, would kidnappers be calling you? Madame Ronk shook her head fast, her voice barely coming out. I don't know, sir. I swear I don't know. But her fear looked too real to fake. She put the phone to her ear, pressing the loudspeaker button with a shaky thumb. A deep male voice boomed from the phone, rough and threatening. Where is the girl? You promised to bring her out tonight. Everyone froze. Ireti's heart jumped. She gripped the billionaire's sleeve, terrified. The billionaire's eyes flashed with rage. He grabbed the phone gently but firmly from Madame Ronk and spoke with a steady voice. Who are you? What do you want from her? There was a pause, a chilling pause. Then the voice on the other end growled, Who is this? Toby answered calmly, The man who will end you if you touch that girl again. Ireti gasped. Whispers moved through the crowd like a wave. The voice changed, now louder, angrier. That maid owes us! Bring her out now! The billionaire's jaw tightened. What debt? What did a 16-year-old girl ever owe you? A cruel laugh echoed through the phone. Her parents' debt. Remember that fire in Ajigunli 2 years ago? It wasn't an accident. They owed us money. They couldn't pay. So we took their children. Ireti covered her mouth as tears spilled. Her whole body shook violently. The voice continued. We have the younger too. We only let her go so she could find money. And she failed. Everyone in the compound stared at Ireti with hanging jaws. Shock, fear, pity, guilt. The billionaire stepped closer to the phone. How much do you want? The kidnappers replied instantly. 5 million naira. Bring the girl to Mile 12 Bridge tomorrow night. Alone. No, the billionaire said. You'll get the money, but you're not getting the girl. The line went silent for 1 second. Then the kidnapper shouted, If she's not there by tomorrow night, the next photo you get will be their bodies. Ireti screamed. No, please don't hurt them. I'll come. I'll do anything. The billionaire held her tightly. You're not going, he whispered firmly. They won't touch you again. I promise. But before he could say more, the line cut. Madame Ronk burst into tears. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know they were kidnappers. They told me they wanted to help her. No one cared about her excuses anymore. The billionaire slowly lowered the phone, thinking fast. Then he turned to Ireti. I need you to tell me something, he said gently. Where were you the night your parents died in that fire? Ireti swallowed hard. I, I wasn't at home, she whispered. I went out to buy medicine for my brother. When I came back, everything was burning. People said it was an accident, but I never believed them. The billionaire nodded slowly. I believe you. He turned to his driver. Start the car. Ireti looked up at him, wiping her tears. Sir, where are we going? His eyes hardened with purpose. To my home, where you'll be safe, and after that, we'll prepare. For what? She whispered. He opened the car door. For tomorrow night, he said. We're going to get your siblings back. But just as they entered the SUV, a motorcycle screeched to a stop in front of the gate. A masked man jumped off, and in his hand, he held the same kind of phone the kidnappers had used. He pointed straight at Ireti and yelled, You! Come with me now! The guards scattered. Ireti screamed. The billionaire stepped in front of her. But the masked man reached into his jacket and pulled out something that made everyone duck and scream. A gun. The masked man raised the gun, pointing it straight at Ireti. People screamed and ran in every direction. The billionaire didn't move. He stood in front of Ireti like a shield. Put that gun down, Toby Owolabi said, voice calm but deadly. The masked man hissed, Move, or I shoot her. Toby shook his head. No, if you want her, you'll have to go through me. For a moment, it looked like the gunman would shoot. His finger tightened on the trigger. Then, bang! Everyone gasped, but it wasn't the gunman's weapon. It was the billionaire's head of security, Mr. Cola, stepping out from behind the SUV. Gun raised, expression ice cold. His bullet hit the masked man's wrist, sending his gun flying across the ground. The man screamed, grabbing his bleeding hand. Before he could run, 2 guards tackled him to the floor. Ireti collapsed to her knees, shaking uncontrollably. She had seen violence before, but never this close. Never because of her. The billionaire knelt beside her. Are you hurt? He asked softly. She shook her head, tears falling fast. Sir, they won't stop. They will kill my siblings. Toby placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Not on my watch. The guards dragged the injured gunman forward. Mr. Cola marched up to the billionaire. Sir, he has a second phone. He handed it over. On the screen was a text message. Bridge. 18 hours left. Bring the girl. The billionaire's eyes darkened. They loaded Ireti into the SUV and drove away fast, leaving police sirens growing louder behind them. The billionaire's home. Something strange. Toby's mansion was like a palace. High ceilings, gold lights, guards everywhere. But what shocked Ireti wasn't the beauty, it was the warmth. The staff didn't stare at her like she was trash. They didn't whisper. They didn't point. They greeted her with soft smiles, worried looks, and blankets. Real blankets. The kind that felt like clouds. For the first time in months, she felt safe. Toby guided her into a guest room, larger than any place she had ever slept. You'll stay here tonight, he said gently. You're protected. Ireti nodded slowly, but panic still held her chest tight. What about my siblings? She whispered. Sir, please, don't let them die. The billionaire sat beside her on the bed. I won't. His voice was calm, strong, serious. We're not waiting until tomorrow. We leave for mile 12 at dawn. Her eyes widened. But they said, I know what they said, he replied. But we're doing this my way. He stood up, walked to the door, then paused. Ireti, there's something you don't know. She looked up nervously. He took a breath. Your parents didn't die in an accident. Someone paid for that fire. She froze. Her heart dropped. What do you mean? She whispered. The billionaire clenched his jaw. That kidnapper, he mentioned a debt. But I made some calls while we drove here. He looked at her with a heavy expression. Ireti, your parents didn't owe criminals money. She blinked. Then who? He stepped closer. Someone very powerful wanted them gone. Someone connected to this kidnapping. Her throat tightened. Tears blurred her eyes again. Why? Why would anyone want to hurt them? Toby lowered his voice. Because your father, was an accountant who uncovered something he wasn't supposed to see. Ireti's breath caught. Her father, an accountant. What did he carry that could destroy her life? The billionaire continued. He found evidence that linked a major politician to a huge corruption scandal. That politician needed him gone and used these criminals to do the job. Ireti grabbed the blanket, shivering. Sir, if they killed my parents, then they'll kill me. He gently touched her shoulder. They won't. Not as long as I'm alive. She stared at him. This billionaire who protected her like she was his own family, like she mattered, like she wasn't just a maid. She swallowed. Why are you helping me, sir? She whispered. He held her gaze for a long moment. Then he said the words that changed everything. Because your father once saved my life, and I promised him I would protect his children. Ireti gasped, hands flying to her mouth. My father? Saved you? The billionaire nodded slowly. Yes, many years ago. And now, I'm keeping my promise. Ireti felt the room spin. Her heart raced. Everything she knew was changing. Everything she believed about her life, her parents, her suffering, her loneliness. It all had a deeper meaning. She whispered, Sir, what did my father save you from? The billionaire stepped closer, but before he could answer, bam, bam, bam. 3 heavy knocks slammed against the mansion's front door. The guards shouted. Footsteps ran across the marble floor. Someone yelled, Sir, you need to come downstairs now. Toby's eyes widened. He grabbed Ireti's hand. Stay behind me. Don't let go. They rushed down the staircase. The front doors swung open, and standing outside was a woman in a torn wrapper, barefoot, shaking violently, holding something in her arms. Something wrapped in a dirty blanket. She looked up at the billionaire and cried, Please help me. They said I should bring this to you. Then she opened the blanket, revealing something that made everyone scream.